Hello and welcome. Glad you are here watching this talk. We are on Slack to answer your questions while you listen. I am Cheryl Crupi, founder and leader of the MetLife Global Agile Center of Excellence.
And I'm Ronica Roth, co-founder and principal at Elevate.to. Combined, we have 4 decades of enterprise change leadership experience at dozens of companies ranging from early growth stage to the Fortune 500. In this work, we have supported hundreds of leaders. As people who support senior leaders as they lead change in their organizations, usually agile transformations that touch every part of the organization, we were surprised and dismayed recently to learn that at one company, an employee engagement survey revealed that SVPs are the most miserable tier in the enterprise hierarchy. We were dismayed because enterprises need leaders who can embrace, inspire, and lead new ways of working. That's hard to do when you're miserable. We were so surprised that we went on to interview colleagues about several more enterprises of all sorts. Unfortunately, we found more examples of senior leaders burned out and frustrated.
Though we call them out for anti-agile behavior, Agile does not call them in with clear ways to learn and participate, and with the personal and organizational habits that could free them to lead with agility. By offering belonging and relief to the most influential tier in the enterprise, we all win. Enterprise agility becomes possible. Today, we invite you to take an empathetic stance, to walk in the shoes of those senior leaders. We want you to see the very real systemic impediments that are in the way of senior leaders practicing and leading with agility. Let's work together to break down those impediments.
A little bit of context. At last year's DevOps Enterprise Summit, Mark Silverman, co-author with General McChrystal of the book Team of Teams, observed that senior leaders are caught in the middle. Silverman presented this pyramid showing how different tiers in the organization perceive change and complexity. In it, we found the seeds of understanding for what we were finding. Senior leaders, generally that layer that reports to the C-suite, are often in the role of connecting strategy, the C-suite's idea factory, to execution, the rest of the organization. The challenge in some companies is that change can equal risk. Change can jeopardize the execution and operations on which senior management are being measured and compensated. And change can mean changing the system in which they are succeeding. That may sound cynical, but only if you picture selfish individuals. What we found were systems that failed to support these lovely humans in their dual roles of leading the business while also changing it.
As we'll explore, their unique positions might make senior leaders even more prone to the burnout that Dr. Christina Masloch described at the 2019 DevOps Enterprise Summit. Her research indicates that a lack of these 6 elements contributes to people feeling burned out. The opposite of burnout is engagement, to be completely present in your work. If you have these 6 things, you are more likely to feel engaged, enterprised, and happy. From that place, you can show up resourced, creative, and courageous. Our experience and interviews reveal a tier of senior leaders who are burned out, stressed, and perhaps trying to be change leaders, but instead are keeping the current system in place. We also found examples where this was never true, or more inspiring and instructive, where the situation was changed through concerted effort. Based on our interviews and experience, we believe the top 3 factors contributing to SVP burnout are lack of a first team, distance from the real or fun work of leadership, and too much work in progress. Let's look at each of these factors and consider what we can do about them.
It's lonely at the top. We've all heard this saying. Agile transformations might make the problem feel even worse for many senior executives who find the team they are on is more like a working group than a cohesive team. Patrick Lencioni has written extensively about the importance of leadership teams being cohesive and healthy in order to be effective. Such teams build trust, engage in healthy conflict, achieve commitment, embrace accountability, and focus on collective results. As he wrote in The Advantage, this collective mentality can happen only when all members place a higher priority on the team they're a member of rather than the team they lead. He wrote, when members of a leadership team feel a stronger sense of commitment and loyalty to the team they lead than the one they're a member of, then the team they're a member of becomes like the United Nations. It's just a place where people come together to lobby for their constituents. Without a strong team one, senior leaders become isolated from each other. We spoke with one SVP level person at a financial company in Oceania who described her team of peers as a collection of individuals. In fact, the group's leader managed the group through 17 one-on-one relationships rather than as a team. She definitely felt acutely the difficulty of not being able to collaborate with peers. The United Nations model spurs unhealthy competition. I observed one leadership team in which each member was trying to win, to have his part of the business outperform, to gain more budget, to look good. When discussing collective goals, each member only talked about his individual contribution to those goals. In the worst circumstances, competition begets hostility. We heard about one thoughtful SVP at a fintech, we'll call him John, who offered onboarding help to a new peer. The offer was rejected. The peer clearly suspected an ulterior motive. Another time, John tried to collaborate with another peer who was struggling with a strategic cloud project that affected many parts of the organization. This time, the motive was clear. John's team would struggle until the project was complete. I got it, came the response. That guy didn't want to appear incapable. In fact, he went so far as to throw John's team members under the bus and to disparage them publicly. Collaboration at that level was not safe.